Welcome to our deep dive into David Bach's Smart Women Finish Rich.
Okay.
You're probably here because you're thinking about how to be more financially independent.
Mm,
And we're going to break down Bach's strategies
right.
and see if we can help you get there.
That's the goal.
So,
Yeah, I think what's really cool about Bach's approach
mm-hmm.
is he goes beyond just the numbers.
Right.
He really digs into the psychology
Yeah.
and the emotions around money.
Yeah.
And that's something that a lot of people struggle with.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not really talked about
Yeah.
in traditional financial advice that much.
He starts by just debunking this whole myth that,
Yes.
someone else will take care of me,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
And that's a big wake-up call when you think about it.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider that the average age of widowhood is only 56.
Oh, wow.
He shares this story about Sarah, this 57-year-old widow
Okay.
who's facing bankruptcy.
Wow.
It's scary. And it's just like, how did this happen?
Yeah. What happened there?
Her husband was a successful lawyer, but
Oh, but he didn't plan.
didn't plan.
Yeah.
There was no will in place.
Or it will.
There was no clear financial strategy.
Yeah.
And now she's left picking up the pieces.
It's a really important reminder that you really need to take control
Yeah.
of your own financial future,
Yeah.
regardless of your relationship status.
Regardless.
Yeah.
That's such a good point.
Right.
It's so easy to just assume that,
Mm.
oh, it'll all work out.
Yeah.
But it's so essential to have a plan,
Yeah, you need a plan.
especially when it comes to your finances.
Yes, definitely.
So then he talks about, this whole challenge of
Right.
knowing where your money goes. And he
Mhm.
uses this example of this couple, Karen and Tom.
Okay.
And they were so good at saving all their financial statements, but they never looked at them,
They never opened them?
never opened them.
Wow.
So many people do that.
I think so many people are just afraid to open that can of worms.
It's like a Pandora's box.
Like, you don't want to see what's in there.
Yeah.
But Bach argues that, the first step
Hmm.
to being financially successful is understanding where you are.
Okay.
So where are you?
Yeah. Where are you starting from?
What do you have?
Yeah.
He introduces this thing called the Finish Rich Inventory Planner,
Okay.
which is basically just like a detailed breakdown
Okay.
of your income, your expenses,
Sure.
your assets, and your debts.
Okay.
It's not about feeling overwhelmed.
Right.
It's about gaining clarity. Like,
Yeah.
where are you
Yeah.
and where do you want to go?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really about creating that roadmap
I like it.
to get you there.
It's like a financial checkup,
It is like a financial checkup.
but without the anxiety.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so we know where we are now,
hmm
but then he gets into this whole thing called the latte factor.
The latte factor.
Have you heard of this?
I have heard of the latte factor.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he's basically saying that,
Yeah, all those little expenses
Yeah.
can really add up over time.
yeah,
They might seem small, but,
Mhm.
they can have a big impact.
he uses this great example of Deborah, who
Mhm.
spends about $4 a day
Oh,
on a latte and a biscotti.
okay, I see.
And it's like, that's not that much.
Right.
But if you think about it,
Uh,
over a year, that's almost $1,500.
$1,500.
Imagine what you could do
Wow.
with an extra $1,500 a year.
That's a lot of money.
Right.
And it's not about depriving yourself.
Right.
It's just about being mindful
Yeah.
of where your money's going
Yeah.
and those small recurring expenses.
You know what's so funny? Because I used to think that, oh, it's just a couple dollars.
Yeah.
But then when I actually started tracking my spending, I was like, whoa,
It adds up.
it adds up.
Yeah.
So what do we do about it?
Well, Bach is a big fan of automating your savings.
Oh, okay.
So basically, you choose a certain amount that you want to save every month,
Uh-huh.
and it just gets automatically transferred to a savings account or an investment account.
Okay.
So you don't even have to think about it.
So it's like, set it and forget it.
Exactly. Set it and forget it.
And I like that.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
And then you don't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
It's just happening in the background.
Like it's on autopilot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like paying yourself first
Yeah.
before you even get a chance to spend it. He calls it the 12% solution.
Okay.
So he suggests saving 12% of your gross income
Oh,
for
for
retirement.
12%.
Now, that might sound like a lot,
It does sound like a lot.
especially if you're just starting out.
Yeah.
But the key is to start small
Oh.
and gradually increase your savings over time.
Okay.
Even if you start with 1%
Mhm.
or 2%,
Yeah.
just get in the habit of saving something.
It's about making it a priority.
Yes, exactly.
Instead of paying everyone else first
Right.
and whatever's left over.
Yeah, then maybe you can save.
Yeah, maybe.
But that's usually not the best approach.
He's saying prioritize yourself.
Yes, prioritize your future self.
Future self.
Yes. because you deserve it.
I think a lot of people struggle with that because retirement just seems so far away.
It does seem far away,
Yeah.
but it comes faster than you think.
Yeah.
And the sooner you start saving,
Yeah.
the better off you'll be.
The more time your money has to grow.
Exactly. He talks about this concept of compound interest,
Okay.
which is basically like this magical thing
Okay.
where your money earns interest on interest
Okay.
over time.
So it's like a snowball effect.
It is like a snowball effect.
Yeah.
The longer you let it roll,
Mm-hmm.
the bigger it gets.
Okay. So it's not linear.
It is not linear.
It's exponential.
It is exponential.
Okay.
And that's the beauty of it.
Gotcha.
So even small contributions early on can make a huge difference down the road.
He wants us to think like owners,
Yes.
right?
Not just shoppers.
Not just shoppers.
Yeah, like you're not just spending money.
Mm-hmm.
You're actually building wealth through ownership.
So he's saying, like, consider opening a stock account.
Yeah, even if it's with a small amount of money,
Okay.
just to get started.
Yeah.
You know, to get your feet wet.
I remember when I was a kid,
Uh-huh.
I was fascinated by the idea
Mm-hmm.
that you could own a piece of a company,
Like Disney.
like Disney.
Yeah.
Seems so grown up.
It's very empowering
Yeah.
to think that you can actually own a piece
Right.
of these big companies.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be complicated.
No, not at all.
Right.
There's so many resources available these days
Mm-hmm.
to help you get started with investing,
Uh-huh.
even if you're a complete beginner.
And then he even talks about teaching your kids about money.
Yes.
He talks about the Rockefeller allowance method.
Oh, the Rockefeller allowance method.
Where they have to allocate, a certain percentage to charity,
Okay.
a certain percentage to savings,
Right.
and then the rest they can spend.
And that's such a valuable lesson
Yeah.
because it teaches them about,
Yeah.
giving back,
Uh-huh.
saving for the future,
Yeah.
and then also enjoying their money.
And it gets them thinking about it
Exactly.
from an early age.
Yes. And financial literacy is so important.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's not really taught in schools that much.
Right.
So it really falls on parents
Mm-hmm.
to teach their kids about money,
To give them those tools.
to give them the tools
Yeah.
to be successful with money.
So before we move on to the next part,
Oh,
I'd love to hear your thoughts. Like, what really stood out to you
Yeah.
from this first section?
yeah, from this first section.
Yeah.
Well, I think for me, what really resonated is his emphasis on actually taking action.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just read about it.
Right.
You actually have to implement it in your life.
Yeah. Make it real.
Make it real, exactly.
How do we do that?
Right?
Mm.
So let's get into some of those steps.
Yeah.
So he talks about building a really strong financial foundation,
Okay.
starting with something he calls a security basket.
Security basket. Okay.
So that's basically your emergency fund.
Oh, okay.
So he recommends having 3 to 6 months
Okay.
of living expenses
Uh-huh.
saved up
Okay.
in a readily accessible account.
Like a savings account or something.
Yeah, exactly, like a high yield savings account.
Okay.
So that if something unexpected happens,
Mhm.
you've got that cushion.
So you're not scrambling.
Yeah, you're not totally freaking out.
It's like peace of mind.
Yeah, it's peace of mind.
Yeah.
Knowing that you've got that backup.
I like that.
Yeah, and then he also talks about the importance of having a will
A will.
or a living trust,
Okay, so just in case
just in case.
something happens.
Yeah, and he says
Mm.
a lot of people actually die without a will. 2 out of 3 Americans.
Wow, that's surprising.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And that can create a lot of problems for your loved ones.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, legal battles and all that stuff.
Right?
So having a will makes things so much easier.
Making it clear.
Clear
Yeah.
who gets what and all that.
And for women, especially single moms, he
Yeah.
talks about the importance of life insurance.
Life insurance, yes.
Making sure that your kids are protected.
Yeah, that's so important.
If something were to happen,
Especially if you're the sole provider,
yeah,
you want to make sure that
they're taken care of.
they're taken care of.
Yeah.
He even suggests over-insuring,
Over-insuring.
which might sound kind of weird,
Yeah, a little counterintuitive.
but it's really about calculating the actual costs
Oh,
of raising your kids to adulthood.
yeah.
All the expenses, college, healthcare, all that.
Housing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a long-term view,
A long-term view, yeah.
not just replacing your income,
Exactly. It's about providing that safety net
that safety net.
for the future.
Okay, and what about disability insurance?
Disability insurance.
Yeah.
That's another one that people often overlook.
Yeah, I don't really think about that much.
Yeah. And he says that the chances of becoming disabled
Mm-hmm.
are actually higher
Than dying
than
it.
dying prematurely.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's kind of scary when you think about it.
Yeah.
Especially for women,
Right.
who are often like the primary caregivers in the family.
Mm-hmm.
Disability insurance is super important.
So it's like income replacement
Yeah, exactly.
if you can't work
If you can't work.
because of an injury or an illness.
Exactly.
And then long-term care insurance.
Long-term care insurance. That's another big one.
Yeah, that's something that we usually think about later in life.
Right, but he's saying it's important to think about it now
Yeah.
because the costs of long-term care
Mm-hmm.
can be astronomical.
Like if you need to go into a nursing home or something.
Yeah. A nursing home or even just in-home care.
Yeah.
It can really add up.
That can wipe out your savings.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just for older people either.
Right.
Like anyone could have an accident or an illness.
Right, need long-term care.
It requires long-term care.
So he's saying plan ahead.
Plan ahead, be prepared.
Yeah.
It's better to be safe than sorry.
All right, so we've got that security basket in place.
Right. The foundation.
You know,
Now we're talking about investing. Building your dream basket.
dream basket. All right, I like it.
So this is where he gets into like different types of investments.
Okay.
From like the really safe stuff like money market accounts,
Okay.
CDs, to like the more growth-oriented stuff.
Okay.
Like mutual funds stuff.
Facts, yeah.
Yeah. And he explains like how each one works,
Mhm.
like the risks involved,
Yeah.
the potential returns.
Okay.
It can be a little overwhelming.
I can imagine.
But he does a really good job of breaking it down
Yeah.
and making it easy to understand.
So he's saying like it's never too early to start saving for retirement,
Never too early.
even if it's just a little bit.
Yeah. Every little bit counts.
He has this whole table
Oh, yeah.
that shows you like how much you need to save at different ages to reach $1 million by retirement.
$1 million.
Yeah, that's the goal, right?
Yeah, that's a good goal.
But it seems like so far away.
It does seem far away.
Yeah.
But he really emphasizes that compound interest thing.
The magic of compound interest.
Humanity of compound interest.
Yeah.
He calls it like the 8th wonder of the world.
So the earlier you start,
The earlier you start,
the better,
the better, the more time it has to grow.
even if it's a small amount.
Even if it's a small amount.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is where that pay yourself first thing really comes in.
Right.
Automate those retirement contributions.
Automate.
Automate it.
Add it.
Set it and forget it.
Set it and forget it.
Yeah.
And just let it do its thing in the background. And then he also cautions us against trying to get rich quick.
Yeah, those get-rich-quick schemes.
Yeah, those are always scams.
They're usually scams.
Yeah.
So he says, like, invest in proven companies.
Okay.
Solid earnings records.
Like the ones that have been around for a while.
Yeah, the ones that have a history,
Yeah. A track record.
track record of success.
Okay.
And then the other thing he talks about is diversification.
Diversification. What is that?
So basically it's like not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yes. Spread your investments around.
Okay.
So like different types of assets,
Yep.
stocks, bonds, real estate,
Okay.
even commodities.
Commodities. What are those?
So that's like things like gold, oil.
Okay. So it's like spreading the risk.
Yeah, exactly. You're mitigating your risk.
So if one thing goes down,
Yeah, another thing might go up.
and then you're not like devastated.
Yeah, exactly. You're more balanced.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah, so it's about creating a portfolio.
A portfolio. Okay.
That's designed for like steady long-term growth.
Steady long-term growth.
Not like risky gambles.
Okay. So no gambling.
No gambling.
Invest wisely.
Invest wisely.
Got it.
Yeah. And even if you're like doing everything right with your own finances, he's saying like, don't forget about the next generation.
Okay.
So he has a whole chapter on raising financially savvy kids.
Okay. How do we do that?
Well, he says like, start early.
Okay.
Teach them about money from a young age
Okay.
and involve them
Involve them. Okay.
in like everyday financial decisions,
Okay.
like grocery shopping,
Oh, okay.
planning a vacation.
Because they can see how it works.
Exactly. Make it real for them.
Make it tangible.
Yeah. And then he also talks about like teaching them about saving,
Saving.
budgeting, investing.
Okay.
You know, like give them an allowance,
Ten allowance, yeah.
encourage them to save a portion of it,
Okay.
and then help them open like their own savings account.
So they can see it growing.
Yeah. Or even like an investment account.
An investment account. Wow.
Yeah, that's advanced.
It is advanced.
Yeah.
But, it's never too early to start.
Right.
And he also says, like, you have to lead by example, right? Like, kids are watching.
You're always watching.
They're always watching.
Yeah.
So you need to model good financial behavior.
Okay.
Show them how it's done.
Be the example.
Be the example.
Okay, wow, this has been a lot of information.
It has been a lot.
Yeah. But before we wrap up,
Okay.
I want to touch on a few more of his commandments.
Yeah, let's hear it. Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, so this next one I think is really important.
Mm-hmm.
It's make your money work as hard as you do.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So it's like, we're working hard
Right,
to
sure.
earn money,
Yeah.
but are we making our money work hard for us?
Right. Are we investing it wisely?
Are we investing it wisely?
Are we saving it?
Are we putting it in the right places?
Are we making it grow?
Yeah.
That's a good point. So it's like, don't be afraid to explore different investment strategies.
Right.
Different savings plans.
Or even like side hustles
Side hustles, yeah.
to generate more income.
Yeah.
So many options.
And then another one is protecting your assets,
Protecting your assets, okay?
which kind of builds on what we were talking about before.
Right, like insurance,
Insurance,
having a will,
having a will.
all got good stuff.
Yeah. But it's also like
Uh-huh.
thinking about things like your credit score.
Oh, yeah, your credit score is so important.
Yeah.
It can really affect,
So many things.
like interest rates.
Interest rates on loans.
Yeah, loans, mortgages,
Yeah. If you have a bad credit score,
you're going to pay a lot more.
you're going to pay a lot more in interest.
Yeah.
And then identity theft.
Oh, identity theft, that's a big one.
Yeah.
They could really mess up your finances.
Yeah, it's like a whole other level of protection.
Yeah. You got to be really careful these days.
So it's like putting a security system in place
For your money.
for your money,
Yeah.
for your identity.
Yeah, your financial identity.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one I think is especially important for our listeners.
Okay, what is it?
Become a lifelong learner.
Oh, yes.
So the world of finance is constantly changing.
It is. It's always evolving.
There's new technologies, new investment strategies.
New laws.
New laws, yeah.
The economy is always changing.
The economy is always changing,
Yeah.
so we can't just learn it once
Right. You got to stay up to date.
and then be done.
Yeah. You got to keep learning.
We'd have to keep learning
Yeah.
and be willing to adapt
Adapt.
as needed.
Yes.
So it's like a continuous journey.
It's a journey, not a destination.
I like it.
Yeah.
And then lastly, there's give back.
Give back. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, so he's saying
Mm-hmm.
it's not just about accumulating wealth.
Right.
It's about using your wealth
To make a difference.
to make a difference in the world.
Yeah.
So whether that's through philanthropy, supporting causes you care about,
Volunteering your time.
volunteering your time,
Mentoring.
mentoring.
There's so many ways to give back.
There's so many ways.
Yeah.
So it's like finding that balance
Mm.
between taking care of yourself
Yeah.
and then also
Contributing to something bigger.
contributing to something bigger.
Yeah.
So what does all of this mean for you?
That's the big question.
Smart women finish rich. It's a call to action.
Yes, it is.
It's about taking control
Taking control of your finances.
of your financial future,
Yeah.
making informed decisions,
Right.
and building a life
A life that you love.
of financial freedom and security.
Financial freedom and security.
So it's like, we've given you all these tools,
the toolbox.
the toolbox.
Yeah.
Now it's up to you
To use them.
to use them.
Yeah.
And remember,
Mm-hmm.
even small changes can make a big difference over time.
Absolutely.
So start small.
Start small.
Pick one thing
One little habit.
that you can improve today.
Maybe it's automating your savings,
Automating your savings,
creating a budget,
creating a budget,
or just checking your bank statements regularly.
just being aware
being aware.
of where your money's going.
Yeah, exactly.
And remember, you don't have to do this alone.
You don't have to do it alone.
There are so many resources available.
There are financial advisors,
Financial advisors,
online communities,
online communities,
books, podcasts,
like this one.
like this one.
Yeah.
There's so much information out there.
Yeah. So don't be afraid to ask for help.
Ask for help.
Reach out
Just reach out.
to people who can help you.
And we hope that this deep dive into Smart Women Finish Rich has been helpful.
Has given you the tools,
The tools and the inspiration.
the inspiration to
Yeah.
take control of your finances.
Yes. And remember, financial independence is about more than just money.
Yeah.
It's about having the freedom
The freedom
to live the life you want
to live the life you want
on your own terms.
on your own terms. That's
Yeah.
the ultimate goal.
That's the dream.
This is